Welcome back to Storytime Recap. Today, I will talk about a science fiction drama movie titled Another Earth. Without further ado, let's get started. High school senior and amateur astronomer Rhoda Williams was been accepted to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. After partying with her pals, she gets behind the wheel and drives drunk. She is driving along while listening to a radio report about a newly discovered planet when she looks out the window towards the stars, causing her car to crash head-on into a stopped vehicle and injuring the driver, John Burroughs, to the point where he is rendered comatose and causing the deaths of his pregnant wife and infant son. Although Rhoda is given a lengthy prison term of 4 years, her true identity is withheld from the public because of her age. Rhoda is picked up by her parents and brought back to their house after she finishes completing her time in prison. The other planet has become significantly closer over the past 4 years and can now be seen in the daytime sky, and there is more information available about it thanks to radio broadcasts. It's an exact replica of Earth, right down to the towns and oceans. Researchers are trying to make contact with Earth too, but their transmissions get lost in the noise. Rhoda's brother says that rich entrepreneur Keith Harding is funding a space mission to Earth 2 and offering a free ticket to the citizen with the highest reason to join. Rhoda rejects her more comfortable previous quarters in favor of the sparse attic. Knowing that MIT will no longer accept her due to her criminal record, she takes a janitorial position at a nearby school in order to get her hands dirty without having to perform too much heavy mental lifting. She works on a report with an elderly blind janitor named Pradeep, but she tries to keep her distance from other people. Soon after she begins her job as a school cleaner, she heads home for the day and, upon arriving at the crossroad where the deadly collision occurred, she immediately regrets her actions. When she looks back, she sees John Burroughs pulling over and leaving a toy for his son on the sidewalk. She goes with him to his house but then stands outside in the cold, partially undressed, watching Earth 2. She is located in time to prevent her death from hypothermia, and her moderate frostbite is successfully treated. While she is still in the hospital, Rhoda decides to enter an essay contest by writing about how, as an ex-con, she is not eligible for many benefits. However, in the days of nautical exploration, it was typically ex-convicts who braved the venture into the unknown and were among the first to set foot on other worlds, thus she might be among the first to visit Earth 2. From her research, Rhoda learns that John Burroughs was once a well-known musician and composer. Moreover, she learns that when John returned from his coma, he discovered that his entire family had already been cremated and buried. Still plagued with regret, she pays another visit to John's home in an attempt to make amends for the hurt she caused. When he opens the door, she panics and he calms her down. Instead, she acts the part of a maid to promote her own cleaning business, Maid in Haven, by giving away a free cleaning service for a day, a New Haven-based maid service. John, who has nearly quit his job as a music professor at Yale and is now living in a squalor, accepts Rhoda's offer despite his depression and filth. As she begins to tidy up, John finds that she is curious about a telescope that has been left in one of the rooms. John, who has yet to learn that she is responsible for the deaths of his wife and kid, invites her to return the following week once she is finished. Rhoda reassures him that help is on the way, but it may not be in the form he expects. Rhoda's brother returns home to announce that he has been accepted at UConn. When Rhoda next sees John Burroughs, she plans to use a confession speech. She goes over to his place, but he puts her to work right away, without allowing her much time to talk. Having once again failed to recognize her, he hands her a check and walks her to the door after she is finished cleaning. A TV report says that the scientists' attempt to broadcast to Earth 2 was successful. Somebody manages to establish communication with the other side. There are English speakers there, and one scientist is shocked to find that the lady she is corresponding with is an exact duplicate of herself in every way: same name, birthplace, date of birth, profession, and even childhood recollections. However, Rhoda's relatives are convinced that it is all an elaborate fabrication. A scientific discussion is instantly sparked by the telecast. Scientists speculate that Earth 2 is a carbon clone of our globe down to the last person. Philosophers allow for the potential of interacting with one's own carbon copy, who may be physically identical but has chosen a different path in life. Rhoda re-cleans John's house and grows fond of him in the process. Conversationally, they mesh well, and they enjoy one another's company. As he begins to emerge from his depression, Rhoda sincerely hopes to be of assistance to him. While John and Rhoda play, Rhoda uses John's telescope to gaze at Earth 2. After that, he gives her a ride home and they talk about how they might be duplicated on Earth too. Rhoda admits she would be stunned before saying, "Better luck next time," when asked what she would say to her duplicate if she could speak to it. When John fails to remember her name upon sending her off, she informs him that it is Rhoda. Once again, John has no reason to suspect anything. Pradeep at work seems to have picked up on Rhoda's internal struggles. He advises her to maintain mental clarity in order to find inner calm. In John's home, they discuss the first expedition's plans to visit Earth 2. During their conversation, Rhoda tells him a story about a lone cosmonaut who is tormented by an incessant ticking. The cosmonaut decides to treat the noise as if it were music, allowing him to relax and keep his cool. They discuss the essay, but despite her assurances, John is not convinced that they should go on the trip. To show that humanity is not yet prepared to embrace the fact that it is no longer unique, he refers to Plato's allegory of the cave, in which the cave dwellers continue to believe they are the center of the universe despite evidence to the contrary. John becomes furious when he discovers that Rhoda has washed an item of clothing that belonged to his late wife. On the radio, two people discuss the potential threats posed by Earth 2, where people have access to the same weapons and share a similarly suspicious disposition, creating the perfect storm for war and mutually assured annihilation. Rhoda inquires about Pradeep's health while at the office. He apparently got tired of seeing himself everywhere and poured bleach into both of his ears after previously doing the same to his eyes. There, she runs across John, who claims to be on the lookout for her, but no one at Made in Haven has heard from her, and none of his checks have been cashed. She quickly explains herself and agrees to accept his apology for their earlier argument. At the university where he teaches, he gives her a private performance of the music he has been creating for her. After that, they return to their respective homes and engage in sexual activity. John relates how his family, wife, son, and pregnant daughter were slain by a drunk driver just as he was finding happiness in life. After coming out of his coma, he was so furious at the culprit that he sent his brother in his place to all the court proceedings, and he never found out who it was because the defendant was a kid. For the second time, Rhoda is unable to admit the truth. Rhoda goes to the hospital to meet Pradeep, who is now deaf and blind, in the hopes that he can explain his actions to her. When she hugs him, he instantly realizes why she's there and admits that she understands his motivations. The old man begins to cry as she draws the word forgive in the palm of his hand. When Rhoda returns home, she receives a call from the space mission crew. She phones back, and Keith Harding answers, saying he was inspired by her drive. Since he understands her plight and has hinted that he was once on the verge of joining the penal system, he has offered her a ticket to the planet opposite ours. She tells John that she's been selected for a space voyage and that she'll be heading to the Mojave Desert soon to begin her training. Even while John initially expresses his enthusiasm, he soon begins to express concern by inquiring about the will and burial arrangements he must make in the event that Kate does not make it through the voyage. At last, he begs her not to leave, saying that they are so close to achieving their goal. She promises a narrative and says she'll stick around if he still wants her to. She confesses to him that she was once foolish and reckless, and that she was responsible for the deaths of his wife and son. She lied to him when she apologized, thinking that by doing so she could improve his situation. Now she is afraid that she is trying to accept her actions by acting this way. Saddened by her admission, John evicts her from his home in a rage. When Rhoda gets home, she learns that the media has already found that she is the ex-convict space travel essay winner. She runs into her home to escape the swarm of reporters questioning her outside. Her parents are angry that she kept this a secret from them and now want to know what she intends to do about it. A notion is presented on television that suggests the people of the Mirror Earth were indistinguishable from those of our own until they found out about the presence of the other world. From that moment forwards, it's likely that the lives of people living on Earths with seemingly identical populations began to take subtle but significant turns in their own directions. Even after Rhoda returns to John, he still won't let her in. She gains entry through a window and tells John about the possible 4-year-old hypothesis of broken synchronicity. She hands him the ticket to Earth 2 and explains that she thinks he might find his wife and son still alive there. After 4 months, Rhoda has moved into the attic instead of her previous room and is currently catching up on the news about the impending space mission to Earth 2. John, who has completed spaceflight training in the Mojave Desert, is seen by her in an interview, during which he expresses his gratitude for the opportunity and his pride at being among the first to go to space. Rhoda is content and heads home straight from work. As she walks to her back door, she is confronted by her exact double from the parallel universe. It's clear that her twin has had a much better 4 years than she has, as she is dressed much more stylishly than she is. Tell us what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.